Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. It is September 3rd. My name is Cindy, and I am very glad that you are taking a few moments to spend some time with me. So, it has been quite the little Labor Day weekend. Unfortunately, there have been some real tragedies. We have the boat fire off of the coast of, I believe it's Santa Cruz. We have that horrendous shooting in Odessa, Texas. We have Hurricane Dorian, who's decided to plant itself right over Bahamas and not move, creating horrific destruction. And then to top it off, we have Trump saying he just didn't even know there was such a thing as a Category 5 hurricane. He's never heard of them. Oh my goodness, they happen so rarely. He doesn't know ever when there has been another one. ... Except for the last 5 that he has been president for. You know, what is it that Forrest Gump's mother used to say? Stupid as is as stupid does. Okay. So, all right. If you are inspired to, please send prayers and healing light and lights of protection around all of the people who have been impacted by this past weekend and who are in Florida and, oh God, I can't remember. I know there's the Carolinas. I can't remember what the state is between the two of them. Maybe Georgia? I don't know. Anyways, for all of those people along that eastern seaboard who are going to be impacted by Dorian passing by, send prayers, like I say, of healing and protection. So just quickly, healing colors are in the greens. Greens, soft greens, vibrant green, and a little bit of pink is for healing. For protection, the resource that I most like to go to for protection is Archangel Michael, who is, you know, the ultimate protector. And his colors, the colors that resonate around him, are like a deep dark blue and a purple, like a royal purple. And so when you're putting protection around people who you're concerned about for their safety and well-being, that is who you call on. And if you don't choose to call on him, those are the colors that are going to create that protection surrounding people, places, or situations. So, and I know I have the most incredible and amazing viewers, and I know that those thoughts are flying right now to all of the places that need to receive those kinds of blessings. So I thank you. Okay, so I believe it is September 9th when everybody comes back from their summer vacation and the government decides to start working again and getting some stuff done, which is kind of nice. So I thought I would just take kind of a look at what we can expect once they are back, and some of the things that maybe we want to keep in mind or be mindful of. So come on down and let's take a look let's take a look at what September holds for us once everybody gets back to work in Washington. Come on down. I am aware that some people are having trouble hearing me. I have a really good mic system. I'm not quite sure what's going on and why you can't hear me. But I have my my person who comes over and helps me with my IT, because I really am a techno dummy, and he's going to be taking a look at that in the next day or two. So hopefully we can get that resolved so that the hearing issues sort of stop already. Because I know it's frustrating to listen to somebody that you can't hear very well, and it's frustrating for me because I really can't figure out anymore how to fix this. So, but I've heard your comments, I've read them, and we're on it. So hopefully we can get this resolved as quickly as we can for you. All right. So, Washington returns to work. Washington returns to work. Washington returns to work. Boy, okay. So there is a hope and an expectation that there will be some things that can be celebrated because things have gone back, and hopefully stuff that has been stalled or did not get resolved before that summer vacation can be addressed going back. And certainly the one that springs most closely to mind, of course, is gun legislation, that kind of thing. You know, I did hear that the man who caused all of that heartache and chaos and slaughter in Texas would not have even passed a background check. So how is it that he had the kind of gun that caused the devastation that it caused? So there is a hope and an expectation that the government can do something. As it looks, however, you've got, this is the Fool. This is one of my cards for Trump. You have the Hierophant, which is often my card for the government. And you have the Tower. So, okay. Trump is going to continue to communicate in ways that are more and more kind of erratic and make even less sense than the sense he normally doesn't make. And there's going to be a sense of really not being able to kind of get a read on what he will or won't approve, sign into law. And so you're going to see again that sort of stalling and pulling back by McConnell, because he just doesn't know what to put forward, because he doesn't want to put something forward and then not have Trump sign it because he's spineless and has no guts. So look for a little bit more of that. And again, the more pressure that comes to bear, the more likely, some of these people might actually be humiliated into doing the right thing. Although, let's not keep all of our fingers crossed over that one. You also have the Tower sitting here, so it's indicative of the fact that things are not going to roll out smoothly. There's going to be literally some stuff that literally crashes and burns. There's going to be other stuff that falls apart at the last minute. And a lot of it is going to have to do with backroom deals. Certainly the NRA is going to be sticking its nose where it honestly doesn't belong when it comes to gun legislation in the United States. So there's going to be a lot of kind of like imbalance. Like, it doesn't feel particularly stable when they come back. It's like the Democrats come back and they're ready to blast ahead. And they're going to absolutely blast ahead. They're following the money. They're getting documentation and paperwork. they're going to have some good luck in court decisions that are going to force things to go the way the Democrats would like them to go. And they're going to start amping up and ramping up the interviews that they can get accomplished. So that's a good thing. The Democrats are going to be working in sync. So one committee is going to be totally in sync with the other committee. Everybody is kind of coming together and working as a solid unit. They are moving ahead with impeachment. They may not always call it that, but they are going ahead with what broadly would be considered impeachment investigations or impeachment hearings. In a kind of crazy way, part of the reason, they have the numbers, they have that majority, more than half the caucus, the Democratic caucus is wanting to go forward with this thing. But it's really strange. It's almost like part of the reason that they don't advertise it and keep referring to it in exactly that way is because they're very mindful that the more Trump hears about it, the more pushback they get. And so sometimes, it's easier to just quietly do what you're doing, send out enough signals that you are going ahead in the manner that people who have voted them into office expect, but not exactly raving a big flag about it, because again, the last thing they need is Trump becoming even more erratic than he is. And so keep that in mind when you get frustrated with them. Part of what they're doing is like a strategy of just keeping things calm, because it serves their purpose. If you've been kind of paying attention, you know what's going on. You know that they're proceeding with this. And with everything else that's going on in Trump's little world, they're just wanting to move ahead quickly but safely, and making sure that they get all the information, especially business information, especially tax records, records connected to, that Trump conglomerate. All of that kind of stuff. It's really, really important that they receive it and they're able to go through it. And the less fuss that's made about them receiving it, the better it goes, because Trump has so many things on his mind. It's like his mind is like a ping pong machine, right? And there's just balls flying all over the place. And so if he's distracted by a bunch of other stuff, he really is incapable of paying attention to what's going on right in front of his damn nose. So be mindful of that. It's not as lackadaisical as you might think it is, or as sometimes it feels like it is. It really is moving along in a very steady pace, and that pace is picking up. And there is an expectation that through the fall and into, kind of early winter, things are going to start really bubbling up and really heating up. And that is going to be when Trump starts feeling the pain, okay? They're going to be making him offers like basically get out, because you're going to lose our support. He's feeling more and more trapped, and we all know that makes him like crazy. He becomes erratic. He doesn't see what's in front of him. He doesn't think. He rambles more. He makes no sense. And of course, every time that happens, it puts not only your country, but the world on kind of a red alert, because nobody's ever quite sure if he really is choosing to ignore things, if he's just dumb, or if he is somehow complicit in allowing things to go in a certain direction that maybe is not the best for the United States, but of course is very much better for him. So also, as the financial records, as the business details start coming out, you are absolutely going to see his behavior becoming more and more aggressive and nonsensical. And, you know, a lot of people, a lot of readers have been talking about this sort of period between, you know, September and December, January. And as these pieces of the puzzle start coming together and start fitting together, you're going to see Trump in a way and manner that is even, it's even hard to process. And in some ways, I got to tell you, it's even hard to imagine right now, but in 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, it's going to become the reality. Even people who have supported him so far, not all of them, I'm not talking about the ones who drink his Kool-Aid, and I am, in fact, not only talking about just people, like the base, the voting public, but I'm also talking about actually some members of the Republican Party, particularly those in purple or red states, but honestly, some even in red states, who are getting to a point where they cannot spin it anymore, they cannot excuse it anymore. They're going to have to make some hard choices about whether or not they are going to continue to support him, because they understand that doing so ultimately is not going to serve them well. And you know, on some point, the Republicans are actually starting to recognize that while being loyal to Trump may serve them in this moment, being disloyal to the Constitution, to the vow they take, to what their constituents want, is going to cause them heartache one way or the other. And so some of them are very much looking at trying to figure out how to spin it, how to change it, how to position themselves in a better place so that when the axe falls, maybe it just won't fall on their neck. So that should be interesting to watch. And of course, as that happens, so amplifies Trump's reactions. Yeah, there's going to be some communications that come out and quickly, quite rapidly over the next month into maybe the middle of October that actually are going to give a lot of people a lot of hope and a lot of encouragement, because finally, we can see that the steps to get Trump to leave office are actually visible. Like, we can see them, we can point to them and say, yep, they're making progress there. And the more progress they make, yes, the more unstable and dangerous he becomes, but we're one step closer. We're always one step closer to the end goal. And the end goal, of course, is keeping America safe, trying to reunite it, and getting him the heck out of office so that this insanity can stop and you can start the repair process. So look for some good news. Look for a few things that you want to be cheering about and happy about, whether that is the release of documents, whether that is some people who weren't charged or weren't dragged into it before getting dragged into it. But there are going to be some little celebrations that are going to take place that allow some hope. Some, literally feeling as if things are finally moving forward. And oh my goodness, we all need some of that. There's a lot of reevaluating going on. There's a lot of assessing about what position people are in, how much they can continue to defend themselves and still maintain even a modicum of integrity or balance. And I'm really starting to see there's going to be some more of those retirements. And I'm, 40 years old, but really I need to retire because I just need to spend time with my family. Give me a break. What other 40-year-olds are taking time off to spend with their families. Wouldn't we all love to have been able to do that? But that's not how the real world works. In our 40s, we're still busy trying to solidify our life. We're looking at kids growing up and college and, mortgages. But okay, so that's their story, and I guess they're sticking to it. But it should be interesting. I think that there's going to be a few more shakeups in September into October than maybe we're even expecting. The White House is going to continue to get, oh my goodness, the White House is going to continue to receive news about dirty dealings that are being exposed, okay? So, and again, we know what happens, right? He becomes more erratic. Mitch McConnell comes out and says, I have nothing to say about that. And, it just turns into a mucky mess. But that mucky mess is ultimately what is going to send Trump right around the bend. He can't take continual negative publicity. Because on the one hand, while he loves the fact that he's being talked about, on the other hand, it's very hard on his ego when he actually realizes that he is, he's not loved, right? It just kills him. So, okay. He is going to continue to live in his illusions and delusions. Things that he says are going to make even less sense. People are going to literally be left scratching their heads. And I understand the vast majority of you in the United States and of the world have been scratching our heads for a couple of years now. But it's going to intensify and amplify because he no longer sits on his throne with any stability. Okay, not that he ever actually had it, but he at least had that solid core behind him, and he had the Republicans in lockstep with him. And I see the Republican Party diminishing and losing some of its strength and power. So again, that's really good news. All right. So, look for a couple of people in power. Females in power who are going to start, just being a little bit more out there and a little bit more forceful. And God knows he can't stand that, right? I mean, that just makes him crazy. If he thinks that a woman is getting the better of him or has some power or some control over him. Again, he's getting backed up against a wall that he is not going to be able to recover from. Yeah, he's just not going to be able to recover from it. You've got powerful women that are just systematically, step by step, bringing him down. They're going to take him down. And they're doing it for the betterment of the country. They've had enough. And you know what? For any woman out there, you know exactly what I'm about to say. And for most men, you understand exactly what I'm about to say. When a woman decides enough is enough, that's when things change. And they start to change really, really rapidly. He's coming down, people. He's coming down. I sure wish I could say it's going to happen on, December whatever. But I can't. But I can tell you that it's starting to look, he's in a much more fragile position than he has been ever before in this presidency. His polling numbers are horrendous. He's losing people all over the place. You have Republicans whose own constituents are saying, do something about this gun violence. And they're still spouting off this nonsense that the NRA wants them to spout off about, if more people had guns, this wouldn't happen. Well, that's just a load of crap. So it's going to continue to build and continue to build. So as that's happening, keep yourself centered, take lots of calming deep breaths, bring your own colors of healing and protection around you so that you feel safe and secure in a world that is going to start feeling a little bit like little earthquakes under the ground, right? The ground's not going to feel quite so solid anymore, but you're going to get through it, and the world is supporting you getting through it, and it's going to be okay. I wish I could give you a blueprint for how it's going to be okay. I just know it will be okay. So I think that's about it for today. I again thank you so very much for the donations. The private readings are picking up, and that's awesome. The likes and the subscribes, it all means a very great deal to me. I appreciate it, and I mostly appreciate you. So for now, until next time, take care, be well, and I'll see you really soon. Bye.